Hello everybody, my name is Sonny. I'm going to be your coach guide for the second half of the video. In the first half, you met Judith and Steven. They're my coworkers. We work for a company called MetaCoders, and we provide online learning to anybody that wants to learn about computer science and other subjects. We're in quarantine right now. We used to teach in person, but we're now doing online because we want to stay safe, right? So we want to stay safe, but still provide knowledge to anybody that wants to learn anything, really. To review real quick, in the first half of the video, Stephen is talking about the known cases in your city and how there's probably 10 times that number of people that have it but still haven't shown any symptoms. And how that happens is because people that feel fine, they go out and they come in contact with somebody else, and then that person goes somewhere else and then contacts more people. So it spreads out like that. That's the reason, the main reason we are told to stay home and stay safe, so we can stop spreading it amongst ourselves, right? So let's continue watching this video and see what else Stephen has to tell us.
But I'm going to make an exception here, because I think this iceberg needs a name. Now, below your iceberg, I want you to create a box. That box represents your city. So I'm going to label it city. Now, I know San Diego is not shaped like a box, but when you're thinking on paper, the last thing you want to do is try to capture every detail of the real world. Your goal is to simplify the world into only the most important things to put on your paper at this time.
Okay, so Stephen said two main things. One, that for simplicity, we're not going to, perfectly draw the shape of your city. We have a limited amount of space in our paper, meaning that it can run out if we put too many things down. So we're not going to be as exact as we could. We're just going to draw a box that's going to represent our city, and we're going to put some information inside that box. So go ahead and under your iceberg, draw a box, label it with the name of your city. Okay. Now the second thing he was saying is that a box represents an area, a zone of the world in this case. Think of other boxes that you can draw to represent some space, some geographical space. You could go make a bigger box and say that's your state, or a bigger one in your country, or maybe your continent, or the world, or the solar system, or the galaxy, so on and so forth. Or you can think smaller, and under the city box, you could have a box for your neighborhood or even your house and each room in the house, right? So it's just a way to represent information in a plain piece of paper, right? So go ahead and draw that box, put the name of your city, and let's see what else Stephen has to say.
And so I'm going to represent San Diego as a box. Now I want you to look up what the population of your city is. In San Diego, it's 1.42 million people. Now, those members of the iceberg that are below the surface, the ones who don't know that they're sick yet, well, it could be you.
Right, so again, two things. The first thing is write the population of your city somewhere below that square. For our case, we live in San Diego. We have 1.42 million people, so that's what Stephen wrote there. So go ahead and do the same for your city. Put the little number there. And the second thing he was saying is that all the people on the iceberg live inside this box, but we don't know specifically where they are. They could live anywhere, right? You could go, maybe 2 weeks ago, somebody was visiting some family an hour away from their home, but then they came back and now they have it in their neighborhood, right? So we cannot tell where these people traveled to and where they live. So for simplicity, we're going to just spread it out evenly. And that's what he's going to tell us right now.
And it could be me. We simply don't know. And so when we don't know something, we should simply make the safest and simplest assumption, which is that those 3,410 San Diego citizens are uniformly distributed throughout the city. I'm going to represent them as dots with a circle around them, and I'd like you to do the same.
Okay, so now in your box, draw about like 10 little dots and put a circle around them, and that's going to represent the people that are in the iceberg. For example, in San Diego, those dots represent the 3,410. Obviously, you're not going to draw 3,000 dots. Again, for simplicity, just draw a rough estimate, spread them around, and you're square.
It's a tiny bit of the Van Dyke brown.
So I'm going to imagine that the rest of the white space is all the other people who have not yet been exposed to COVID-19. Let's label that. Now, one question on a lot of people's minds is, how safe am I? A city and a virus are complex systems, and so it's impossible for anyone to say for sure. But there are some things we do know. One thing we know is that if you're one of these people who isn't sick, and you are quarantined in your house, and no one else is going into your house and out of your house, then your chances of coming into contact with one of these sick people is very low.
Right. So, again, the main reason we're staying home is to stay safe ourselves and to stop spreading it to other people. When we first started the quarantine, people didn't know if they had it or not, but now it's been, a couple weeks, so now people are still fine in their homes, means that they probably don't have it. And then if nobody's going in or out of their homes, then the risk of them getting it is very low because you're not coming in contact with anybody outside of your house. So that's the main reason we're staying home.
But a grocery store is full of people. Let's see if we can draw that. The grocery store down the street from me is called Vaughn's. And now we have an interesting question, and it jumps right out of the paper because I've already labeled this house as low risk. But Vaughn's? What should I put? Is it high risk? Is it medium risk? Is it low risk? Is it low risk today, but medium risk tomorrow, and then high risk the day after that?
So now this is a very important question because everybody needs to, eat and wash themselves or whatever. And because you can't go outside, you're going to run out of stuff. So at some point, people are going to have to go to the grocery store to get more stuff, get more food, get more whatever they need for their home. So now the question is, well, how safe is it to go to the grocery stores to get food so I can eat? And the problem is we don't know because we do not know where the people that are not showing symptoms are. If they are, following the rules and staying home, or if they're out there without knowing and they're like coming in contact with a lot of people. And maybe how Steven is saying, maybe you can go right now and it's low risk because there's only 3,000 people in the whole city. But as that number grows, there's a bigger chance that that one person can go to the same grocery store that you go to. So that's why maybe the day after tomorrow, it'll be a higher risk because there'll be more people known or assumed to be with COVID-19. So we don't know, and that's why we're trying to figure out how can we gather data. How can we know when it's safe to go out? Where is it safe to go, etc. So right now, people don't know, so we're just like, again, assuming as best as we can and staying home to stay safe and only go outside when it's like that you have to, when you just have to go outside to get more food. And when you go outside, you have to still be safe. That's why it's recommended to like make a grocery list of the items that you need so that when you're at the store, you can just get them as fast as possible and not have to go through every aisle thinking, oh, do I need this? Do I need that? Do I whatever? Also, from some previous videos that we saw in this course, it's better to go earlier in the morning because less people go early in the morning. So make a grocery list, go early, and spend the least amount of time in that store. There's some tips. There's obviously more. You can always wash your hands when you come back, when you go into your car, maybe some hand sanitizer. But yeah, there's other things you can do to stay safe.
These are things we don't know. And not having that information is a problem. We ought to be able to access that information. The technologies of our world, they have the power.
People continually say, I can't draw a straight line. I don't have the talent, Bob, to do what you're doing. That's baloney. Anything that you're willing to practice, you can do. Just like.
So just as a last tip, don't put constraints on your mind or in your body. If you want to try something, if you want to do something, try it and keep practicing. And with practice, you're going to get better at it. And it's just a cycle. You have to practice, and you'll get better at it. So if coding is something you want to do, you got to stick to it and keep practicing little by little. Don't start big. Like we talked about before, start small and then build up from there. That's going to be all for this video. We'll see you again next time.